I went for my first trail run. It can't be ever, but I usually just road run, and I did a trail run today, and I'm like a little terrified to do it again because I feel like I'm gonna step on a piece of limestone wrong and twist an ankle, and then I'm gonna be out for a month.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's a little risky right now.
Inadvisable.
You're building for that marathon, right?
Yeah, inadvisable whilst in a build.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But it was nice to like just kind of get out.
Yeah, for sure.
See the sights, you know. That worked out pretty good.
Nice.
Okay, other topic on kind of the same subject here. I finally figured out how to use slide over on my iPad.
Okay.
Because they removed it with iOS 26, and everyone threw a fit, and they added it back. And I couldn't figure out, because they no longer have the 3 dots up top. So I couldn't figure out how to freaking do the slide over deal. And you have to drag and drop it like you're going to, like, previously if you're using, Stage Manager, you had to, like, drag an app into, like, the from the dock or whatever to add a window.
Okay.
So you just do that, but you drag it to the side. And now you can be in, like, multiple, like, the multi-window mode. Not just Stage Manager, but like full-on multi-window, and have slide-over apps.
Interesting.
And you can resize the slide-over app, so it's not just like the small column. You can make it even bigger.
Oh,
and it just sits in its like little bucket over there.
And can you easily like shoo it away and then bring it back?
Yeah, it's very cool.
That does seem cool. What are you using that for?
Right now, nothing. But I feel like
It'd be good if you had like notes or something. You know, you want to just like pop open a note and
like slide over your here's my Apple Notes, or I like Todoist was another option that I was considering. So I feel like there's maybe like whilst in a work environment, one might use Teams like a maniac. I don't know. Yeah. There's options, and I'm pretty pumped about it.
Is it only from the right, or can you do it from the left?
You can do it on the left too.
Oh,
yeah.
Ambidextrous slide over.
I haven't checked to see if you can do double slide over. Maybe I should do that live right here.
Yeah.
I was going to put this one over here in the slide over.
You may accidentally like open a portal to another dimension or something.
You never know.
So be careful with that.
And then let's go ahead and grab the calendar app, I guess. Come on. Oh, nope, stop. Oh, nope. Grab this one. Come over here, and then,
Whoop.
Did I do it? No, go away. Unslide. Slide. No, Daniel's not doing it. It's only giving me one slide over. So, no. You can't do one on one side and one on the other. That's unfortunate.
Okay. It's a single slide.
Huge miss.
I feel like you become a little bit more of an iPad power user every day.
I'm just loving it. Just living that iPad lifestyle.
Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
Like, I really like my iPad, but sometimes the motivations of corporate interest make me mad about my iPad.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you see, the hardware in my iPad is like really, really good. And it's like probably 4 times better than the Nintendo Switch. And I think it'd be really cool if I could play Zelda on my iPad.
Yeah, I think there's some licensing deals that are preventing that.
I'm just saying, like, Tears of the Kingdom would be super delicious looking on this screen, and I could just like grab a controller, and it would probably run at 60 to 120 FPS.
Yep.
But like Nintendo is not motivated to make. They want you to buy their hardware,
of course,
and they don't want to pay Apple 30%, and reasons. And I feel like all these companies aren't motivated to make my life better.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the case for as long as the stuff's been around. That it's like think about game consoles. It's always been like you have an Xbox, you have a PlayStation. They're pretty similar inside, but you can't play games across platforms.
What if every platform was like the internet? And it was just agnostic of what you were on, and you could just run whatever software on whatever hardware you wanted. What if, Daniel?
Be a different world.
Be like a utopia.
Be a very different world than the one we live in.
And did you see the stuff about the what are they calling it? The Gabe Cube?
Yes, it's it's like the Steam Deck, but it's a like a desktop computer, right?
Yeah. Apparently, like,
looks pretty cool.
That thing running SteamOS, it plays Windows games faster than a Windows computer.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think they've announced the pricing yet. I think that's the biggest thing that's kind of the question mark. You know, and there's lots of people that are like, if it's anything over $700, then like it's a total flop. And then there's other people saying that like there's no way it's going to be under 1,000 with like the specs and stuff. But I don't know. We'll see.
That may be my next console.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. Especially if I can like play Nintendo games on it.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But what if like my iPad could run SteamOS?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I bet if my iPad ran SteamOS, it could also play Windows games faster than a Windows computer.
I definitely think that's the case.
And that's what makes me sad.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it is a shame that like I mean, there's so many like categories of this problem. Like as another example, that iPad is a really good screen. Why can you not plug an HDMI device into it and use it as a monitor? You know, imagine like being at a film shoot, and be able to plug your camera into that and use that as your monitor. Just don't allow it.
Just can't do it.
Yeah, there's no technical reason that it shouldn't be possible.
It's like how IMAX used to have target display mode. Now they don't.
Yep, exactly. Now you just have to throw it away. It's outdated.
Yep. It's a shame. Like emulators on the iPad are pretty much capped in their capability because it won't let you do JIT. Because it's just like, oh, you could run arbitrary code if you can compile it live.
Yep.
Nope. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
I'm just saying, Daniel, when Tim Cook steps down in January, everything's going to change.
You think it's going to happen?
They're going to bring like new user interfaces again. They're going to bring JIT to the iPad.
I'm impressed you know what JIT is. Didn't see that coming.
Anyways, this is stupid. Let's talk about cameras.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We just passed the holiday season. Did you get any camera related things as a Christmas present? And B, did you do any like special shooting for Christmas?
I'm at the point in my life where nobody buys me gifts anymore.
Yep. Especially for your hobby, because they're like, what would they would never know like the right thing to get.
Yeah, and it's like most of the things I'm going to buy for myself, like most of my friend relationships are mature to the point where it's like,
Yep.
And
I know that feeling.
Wife are really bad about shopping for gifts, and so like, I didn't get a birthday gift from her this year. Like, no Christmas gift yet.
Yep.
It's in the mail probably. Who knows? And like, it's fine because she knows like I'm probably just going to buy myself something anyways.
Yep.
And so my mom's always like, we're just going to do stocking gifts this year, whatever that means. So, it's like, like socks.
Yep.
And like an apron.
I mean,
and like, I did get a wallet that when you put your license in it, it puts your face in a Batman mask.
That's pretty clever.
Which I saw that in there and I'm like, I love it, but also it's really stupid and I'm not going to buy that for myself. I never expect anyone to actually buy it for me. I felt seen. So that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you buy yourself any camera gear for Christmas? Maybe that's a better question.
No. I bought a house, Daniel, so I can't buy anything.
That's fair.
No, we're going to get into it, but I bought a Mac Mini.
You did. I also bought a Mac Mini recently, so I guess those are just going around this holiday season.
Yep. No, I didn't buy anything photo related. I'm still waiting for us to figure out, to find the time to figure out what our future looks like.
Yeah.
And then
it's a big question.
Yeah, and then, go from there.
Yep.
Because if we decide not to buy, a fancy L mount cinema camera, and then if Fuji releases like an XH3S.
Yep. I mean, you have a whole branching set of possibilities available to you.
There's just a lot of things that could happen, Daniel, and I'm now finding it hard to want to buy any sort of invest into my ecosystem, knowing that I don't know what it looks like long term for me. Like if I switch to L or R or E or Z or some other letter in the alphabet mount.
Yes, so many choices.
M. If I switch to some other mount, some other camera, and then maybe I keep my XT5 and my 23 or something, or maybe I sell everything and I buy an X100VI, or maybe I come into a bunch of money and I buy a GFX 100 RF.
Jeez.
I don't know.
I didn't know all that was on the table.
I mean, I'm just saying that my fun take pictures of things for me camera could just always be a Fuji, but I don't know. And I don't know to what level or to how many lenses.
Yep.
And that all kind of comes down to what kind of, work related photo camera / video camera I have, which comes down to what video camera. All that to say, no, Daniel, I didn't get anything for Christmas that's related to any of this. I do have to tell you, we have to talk about my photo workflow. But Daniel, tell me, what did you get anything that was camera related?
I mean, we mentioned the Mac Mini. Other than that, not really. I mean, I'm sort of in the same boat as you. You know, some uncertainty, I guess, about what's next. And I think, I mean, I'm planning on staying with L because I have a million L mount lenses now. But what's weird for me right now is that I still have the XH2S. Yeah, and that feels kind of like the only reason I have it is because we use it to shoot video interviews. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so I'm kind of wanting to figure out what we do.
I mean, Daniel, the answer is that you give it to me, you sell my XH2S.
You would like that, wouldn't you?
I'll give you an extra. I'll give you $100 or something, and then you can sell mine instead. I don't know how that works out. Works out for me. It sure does. And then you buy the stupid S1 R stupid. Well, that's kind of then we just use those cameras as A and B, and then my camera will be C.
We could, because I've thought about selling the XH2S, selling my S9. Mm-hmm. And getting, you know, and taking the proceeds from that and getting an S1R Mark II.
Yeah.
And that way I'd have both of the S1 series cameras. I've got the GR for, you know, for travel type stuff.
Seems
it'd be a nice setup.
Perfect. Yeah. Right. And like, there's two very similar looking L mount cameras then that we can use for the interview setup and Bob's your uncle.
That's true. So maybe that's the answer.
I think it's a fine answer.
Yeah. A fine answer.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Then I'll have an opportunity to borrow both the S1R Mark II and the S1 II.
And you can see which one you want.
And really decide, like, for me, which Lumix camera do I have to buy? When in my heart, I know that I actually want a Nikon camera.
I just don't know. I just don't know about that.
They're going to come out with a Z9 this year, man. And then I'm going to be like, Daniel, what if I bought a Z9? And then you're going to be like, you're an idiot.
Well, it already exists. So if you wanted to buy a Z9, you could.
2, Daniel. Mark II.
You got to clarify. These things.
It just occurred to me that no one gave me a rope strap from Peak Design
and it's
for Christmas. It just means that I'm going to buy myself a rope strap pretty soon.
If only you were sponsored by them, you know, it would really help.
I don't know why they don't just send me rope straps at this point. They're like, every time they come out with a new product, they send me a rope strap.
Doesn't matter what the new product is. Just like, we gotta send Lucas another rope strap.
Hey, Lucas, we came out with a new tripod. Here's a rope strap.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys. I do like that tripod. This feels like bribery.
Okay, I think we've procrastinated long enough. So tell me where you're at on your photo backup workflow. And I am kind of curious about this because I also have a Mac Mini now, and I'm looking for a solution for my photos. So, you know, I'm hoping in your odyssey here of finding the right thing, maybe you'll find something that would work for me too.
I know people are sick and tired of hearing about this.
They are. Yeah, they've already turned off the podcast.
We
said photo backup workflow, and they said skip to the next episode.
Skip. Ugh, again. Bleh. I've spent a lot of time over the last month pondering this, Daniel. Really existentially. Thinking, like, what is a photo backup workflow?
What is a photo?
And, I mean, you have to define that before you can even put it into the workflow.
That's true.
And
we all know that you, as an iPad power user, have no idea what a computer is. So
it's right in front of me.
You're really starting from first principles here.
Exactly. Does it have RAM? Does it have a processor? Is it a computer? So when I say, like, obviously when I'm talking about photo backup workflow, I'm talking about like the whole thing. I've been calling it that for so long because the original form of this was truly like I took a picture, how's it getting backed up into like whatever. Mm-hmm. But when I'm thinking of photo backup workflow, I'm thinking about like where am I editing my RAWs? Where do they go after I edit them? How are I saving those edits? And then once they end up in their final destination, how is that accessed, backed up, and used? And then how do different cameras, phones get into that system?
Sure.
And I've been messing around with different software. I've just downloaded Photomator to play with that for a little bit. I tried Nitro. I bought Raw X today, which is that preview thing for Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Which you don't shoot Fuji anymore, so it doesn't matter for you. But it totally works. Like, you can just freaking preview lossless compressed raws from your Fuji. Nice. You just like slap that space bar, boom, brings it up.
That's a big improvement.
It was like $12, 100% worth it. So that's cool. Anyways, I've been messing with like iCloud and trying to figure out like how does that workflow work and this, that, and the other. And what I've come down to is the thing I need to decide is, do I want a raw editor and a photo library that are separate things? Or do I want them to be one thing?
And when you say raw editor, is that the same as doing photo editing, or are you talking about some like lower level step of like demosaicing a raw?
I'm
like,
literally talking about when I shoot a photo with my Fuji or am editing photos that somebody else took. What am I using to process those raws? Mm-hmm. And where do those edits live?
So like right now that's Lightroom.
Right now that's Lightroom.
Okay.
And my whole reason for going on this road was in 250, 300 gigs, I'm going to have to buy another terabyte of cloud storage, which in all of my research thus far, like the 1 terabyte Lightroom package, like photo, or it's like $12 a month or something. You get Lightroom, and a terabyte of storage. That's a really good deal. I mean, like, if you're going to do the iCloud version, it's $10 a month for 2 terabytes, but it's way cheaper than Capture One.
Yeah,
and then that's it.
Interesting.
Those are all the options. Just kidding. Anyways, and like Lightroom is it's like the photo raw editor, right? So there's like, it's kind of hard to consider like moving away from it. Anyways, so the concept here is, do I have right now what I have with Lightroom, which is all the photos go into Lightroom. And so I'm using it both as a library and as a raw editor. There's a world where instead of doing that, I manage the library some other way. And the library consists of all of my JPEGs. And I have watched like videos and read blogs about like what other photographers are doing. And it feels like most pro photographers, that library is literally just like folders. Mm-hmm. And then some people will like throw it into Google Photos or like iCloud Photo Library or something. But they're like, here's where I export my RAWs to this external SSD. And I export 3 versions of every picture that I finally edit and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. And so I don't know. Anyways, I'm blabbering at this point. The thing that I'm trying to decide is, should those be a separate thing? And if they were a separate thing, does it then open up the possibility for me to use different raw editors over time as I decide that I want to try different things if my library isn't my raw editor?
Okay.
So like one example of this would be, say my photo library was Synology photos. Mm-hmm. And all the photos, JPEGs from my phone that I'm not going to edit, automatically upload to the Synology photo location. And all of the edits that I make in whatever software, Lightroom, Capture One, I don't know, Nitro, whatever, Apollo. And then I make those edits, and then I export full-size JPEGs to the library. Mm-hmm. And then the library is where I'm creating albums and tagging and sharing and like finding photos and all the stuff that's like you want to do for a library of photos, and like have those just be separate. Or is it better if they're the same? And I think that like the argument for separate is it allows me to, it makes the whole thing more mobile. If they're the same, I basically have 2 options, and it's hard to move between the options.
Yeah, it's like if you decouple it, then you can pick independently, like, how do I want to store my files and how do I want to edit stuff, and you can change either of those things maybe a lot easier.
Right.
The library part would probably be the harder one to change between those. Like you could slot in a different raw editor pretty easily. Yeah,
and like where you edited a raw, if like the edit is really important to you, you always have to go back to the same software to like revisit that edit. But like even Lightroom, you can export, XMP files or something, and then save all that information. And then if you ever need to like go back to Lightroom and buy a new subscription just to get those edits back, like you can.
Sure.
There's ways that you can, deal with that if you're moving between raw editors. But I'm thinking that this is an interesting concept, but I have a lot of questions about it that I want to dive into. The other option, them being just like the same, makes it so that you're using less data effectively. Because like if I have a bunch of raws that I've edited, but that's also my library, there's not really any motivation for me to export a JPEG of that photo. I can just let the raw be the raw in the library, and then if I need to get it into like, oh, I'm going to share this or something, then I'll export it when I share it.
Yeah.
It does make it so that like caching it places gets weird, but Lightroom Smart Previews are like really good. And by default, it uses Smart Previews for like local caching and that sort of thing. And so you're not really having to move the big files around a lot, apart from like the first initial upload, or if you do like save originals locally or something.
Sure.
So it's the Lightroom version is maybe better for managing like raws if it's like the whole library.
Okay.
I did look at like iCloud as an option because I don't know what, like there's not like a third option. You can do Capture One mobile and Capture One like whatever, but you only get like 100 gigs I think of cloud storage for Capture One, and it's purely to transport. They want your photos to either be on your iPad or be on your computer, and you can upload them to the cloud to then download them to your computer. And so it's literally just a transport function.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like the iCloud thing's interesting in that it's like all in iCloud and the storage is cheaper. And then you can, like, if you have your iCloud photo library, any app that supports that, like Photomator or say Nitro, you can just open up that app and then all your photos are there.
Yeah. Yeah, that is nice.
But when you make an edit with one of those, whenever you save it, it generates a JPEG, and then the JPEG sits as a stack on top of that stack of photos. So, like,
does that mean you also lose the raw edit information? Like,
no.
Does it generate an XMP file type thing?
I think it retains it somewhere in the background in iCloud. And so, like, one, it doesn't stack the photos correctly unless you import them that way. And so I don't know. I assume that would work whenever I import them into iCloud. But like when I like plug a SD card in and I go to import files at the same time, if they're named the same and have the same timestamp, it will stack the JPEG and the RAW as one picture. But if you don't do it right, it'll show them as two pictures.
Interesting.
And I don't know how you like merge the two. Maybe you can like right click and merge it. I don't know. But creating like another JPEG on that stack of the edits is just more data. And so I feel like doing the iCloud version is more data intensive. Additionally, you can't make it store RAWs locally. And so one thing I like to be able to do is like, if I'm on a trip and I like load photos onto my iPad, I want them all to be stored locally. Because like say like on the flight back, I want to be able to edit my photos while I'm on the plane.
Sure. You need to be able to force them to stay locally under storage, and you can't do that.
You can't do that with iCloud. You can either store all the photos locally or none of the photos locally. And I don't think it ever stores the RAW locally until you're ready to process it.
Interesting.
And so you're only looking at the JPEGs, even if they're cached locally. And then you go to edit it, then it pulls down the RAW.
That's frustrating. Right.
And so I'm worried about, like, if I went the iCloud route, that I would find a lot of annoyances.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little concerned about that, but I'm also interested in it as the most versatile option out there, apart from it being hardware locked in Apple's ecosystem. It seems like it's the most versatile option because I have all these platforms I can edit photos with. So, but the thing is, if I break the libraries apart, I could use all that stuff anyway.
True.
Nothing's stopping you from using other photo editing software.
That's true. It doesn't really sound to me like you're any closer to deciding here.
So I'm starting to lean towards just breaking it up, doing the library and the editing separate, which is something that I considered at the very beginning of this, which was, what if I just stayed with Lightroom, but I took all the JPEGs out? Because I have like 17,000 RAWs and I have 76,000 photos.
That's so much.
And so I need to go through and probably delete a lot of photos actually and clean up the library. But like it's substantial. Like if I just moved all the JPEGs out, I would be well under my limit.
Yeah.
And I would probably have like years left of room in that plan.
So you move them out, where do you put them?
Exactly. What would be like the alternate library? And that could be Synology Photos, which is the thing that I'm like most interested in right now. I can move into Apple Photos. I could do what I'm currently doing, which is using Google Photos.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I'm trying to figure out with how to do this is, how do I manage EXIF data and how do I bring in photos into that library? And this is like the most annoying thing is because like whenever you save a photo, like you like do a new edit and you export a JPEG, it's going to date that today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have to be able to post date it to the created date so that it ends up in the right spot. And so now I have to add like another tool that does EXIF data editing, which is like Apollo 1 or like EXIF tool or something. Like I could do that. I could do with the Mac Mini, I could like use EXIF tool and like write a script that, I don't know, reads the created date and then changes the right, because like there's multiple dates that are in the because like it's EXIF.
Like you can get the original date, but you're saying you would need to take that and put that as like this was the date the photo was taken.
Right, like if I read the whatever, like the original date, which should be in the EXIF, and then I wrote that to the created date.
It's so annoying.
Or like the date, like created date to date modified.
Why is
it
not an option in the software to use the original date for the JPEGs?
I don't know, man.
That's silly.
But it's like I could do like a smart folder or something, and then have it so like whenever I export to the library, I export to this location on the Synology or something, and then the Mac Mini like reads it, does the conversion, and then moves it to like the library location.
What a pain.
So like I could do some like wild automation like that, and then I don't know. The other thing is like I have all this. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know how do I want to deal with that. Like if I have a photo and I make a new edit, I want it to be next to the original photo in the library, which means it has to have like the same IPTC information, the same EXIF information as the other photo. And so like I have to find a way to maintain that in moving it to the library whenever I make updates. And that's like my problem with Google Photos right now, is that if I make an edit to a RAW and I export it in my current workflow and put it in Google Photos, it'll be like at the top and not where it goes.
Sure.
And then I have to like figure that out.
Yeah.
And doing that in Google Photos kind of sucks. Especially because it's like on their servers. If I was like, I could use, I don't know how it would work with iCloud, but like I know that Synology Photo just sits on a directory. And so if I use any sort of library application that sits on a directory, I could modify those files automatically somehow but I don't know.
I feel like for me, Google is very low on my list of companies that I want to give all my photos to.
Currently, they have all my photos.
I just don't like. I know that they're processing it and gathering information from it because that's how Google makes their money, is from information. And I just don't love the idea that they're just sitting there learning from everything I take. Yeah. But if I put them all there, then I can see them on my TV from my Chromecast. It's real convenient.
That's the main thing, though. It's like,
it's very convenient. I agree.
I have formally switched to using Synology Photo as the primary backup mechanism rather than using OneDrive to like suck photos in.
How's that working so far?
Great. Good? It's working great. And I do think that moving like the file location for all my photos to the Synology Photos directory is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So the Synology is going to like be a library in the function just by virtue of using it in that way. And so I think that like that's just where it's going to go. But there's the concept of like, once I move into that folder, what if like that was instead an iCloud photo library?
Right.
And then I could just do both. I could have the iCloud photo library and the Lightroom thing.
True.
And just do both.
Yeah.
But then I have to switch to Apple TV. And then I also still have the same problem of like, what if the EXIF data doesn't come through to
then you're doing your weird processing thing.
I do think it is easier to edit EXIF data in Photos, because I did that years ago, and it was fine. Like you could like geotag and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
So I think you might be able to do that in Apple Photos reasonably well, but I would still have to like figure out a way to do it. And I don't know if you can like automate that workflow anyway.
Yeah. This all sounds like a lot.
But this is my main problem is if I can solve that, I think breaking the libraries apart makes the most sense. And then I just have to decide which raw editor and which like photo library I want to use. And I may ultimately just switch to doing work stuff in Lightroom and then doing like Nitro or Photomator for my personal stuff.
There's no reason you have to use the same thing for both. Like the work stuff is sufficiently separate in terms of like type of editing you do and all that you could easily separate that.
Yep. And I'm thinking I might, just because like the experience of using Nitro to edit those Fuji files was like, there's some things where like the adjustment curve on the sliders wasn't as predictable as I would want it to be. Like I think that there's some sort of like fall off in the adjustment to like the highlight and shadow slider in Lightroom that I've noticed is different.
Oh,
where like
some of it was linear. I didn't know there was like a curve.
I always thought it was too, but I think that like Nitro is linear is what it felt like. Whereas like Lightroom doesn't seem that like it doesn't adjust all the values proportionally.
Yeah.
It feels like
interesting.
Yeah. And other apps that I've like kind of messed around with beyond Lightroom, all of them seem to behave differently with those sliders, particularly the highlight and shadow sliders, and trying to like adjust those the way they adjust those curves. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought you could just like, oh yeah, I'm going to move these the way I move in Lightroom. And then it's like, this is not doing the same thing. But the way that
does really surprise me.
But the way that like those guys are, that do RAWX and Nitro and Apollo 1 are using like the Apple photo engine to do the demosaicing of the Fuji files looks better in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is like,
you showed me a 100% crop or something of a photo, and I think the Nitro one looked better to me.
Yeah. And so I think that things that are, because like they're all using RAWX on the back end, which is a demosaicer for using Apple's engine.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, maybe cool to just use that for all my personal photos.
Yeah, I could see that.
But then like I lose things like the like film simulation approximations that are in Lightroom. So I don't know, man.
I don't know.
This is where I am. So what I guess like this is my question at this point, without actually deciding on which library system to move into. Do you think I should keep pursuing a single product that is like cloud storage, a library, and a raw editor all in one? Or should I break up my library and my raw editor?
I like the idea of breaking it up because I feel like you know your raw editor of choice may change over time. Or maybe you find that you want to use a different tool for different purposes. And I think that's a nice reason to do it. I also think that if you separate the library, I wonder if you could end up using the same thing for video, whereas like maybe what you have right now, like, or if you use a single product, like if you use Lightroom or something, it's kind of weird to store video in there. I think you can, but it's kind of strange. So I wonder if you get more flexibility doing
Synology Photos does do video in that way, which is kind of interesting. You can have it kind of like break the things apart. Right now for video, I'm using MB. I have it pointed at one of my shares, and I think it's finally gotten around to actually creating thumbnails and stuff for all of the videos.
Oh, that's cool.
But it acts kind of like Plex in that I can just open up the app, I can share it with other people, and I can like search and browse and play all of my videos using that as an interface.
That's cool.
And I can like tag people and all kinds of like library management stuff. I haven't messed with it too much, but there was a video that we did where I needed B-roll. And so I just went into a folder and like I was able to find all of, here lists all the videos in that folder or whatever. And then I could just go through and like play and scrub all of them really quickly.
That does sound really handy because that's always a problem, finding old B-roll and the thousands of little clips we have.
So like rather than doing that through just like Finder, I used MB for it, and I think I did it in about half the time. And so like that's been working out really, really well.
Yeah, that sounds pretty useful. I need to do that.
So
the problem I have is I have all those video files on my Synology, but I can't efficiently play them back that way.
Which is why I suggest this.
Yeah.
I think we need to do it again, but I created a login for you at some point so that you could try to browse my library. And
that would be nice because for the work stuff, we have all the same files.
Yeah, exactly. So
neat.
Anyway, that's all been working out pretty good. So you think I should break it up?
Yeah, I kind of think it makes sense. I think it just gives you more flexibility, and you don't seem confident enough right now in what you want to do that I think it makes more sense to keep your options open.
Woof.
But I don't know. I don't feel like you're very close to a solution here.
I would, if I do break them up, then the thing that I'll be deciding on the library front is which one has the best image search.
Yeah.
And right now, that's good. It's just Google, like hands down.
Yeah.
But
it's because they're learning from all your photos.
AI. Yep. But getting things in and out of Google sucks.
Yeah.
There's not like good tie-ins. And to me, that's a huge reason to just ditch it.
Yeah.
And I really think that I'm probably just going to dump Google Photos.
Interesting.
Which is hard because my wife now has an Android phone.
Yep.
And she could see everything on Synology, like with the Synology photo app, but
not iCloud.
I'm wondering if I have to like just keep uploading things to Google Photos anyway.
Yeah.
With like this, anyway, we got to move on. This is just.
Yep. It's too much. Too much.
There's a lot to figure out here.
There is.
And I think most people are just, they're just like, why is this so hard?
Yeah.
You take the photos, you copy them to your computer, and then they're on the computer.
Yeah.
And when you want to edit them, you open them in Lightroom, and then that's it.
Yep. Just store them on an external hard drive. Easy.
No. Nope. I kind of want to try the iCloud thing.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well experiment with all these things and see which workflow actually seems seems best.
But I don't want to like put the RAWs in iCloud because that would be like a whole thing too. Like I want to try it all in, but I know that I'm going to hate it. And then I'm going to have to like move everything back to Lightroom. Anyway, blah.
All right. Well, once you figure all of this out, we'll let you have one more time where you can circle back and tell us what you ended up doing.
Oh boy. Okay. Only one more update.
I think
so. That's on the final version. All right, fine.
I think so.
This does all kind of relate to this other link that's in here. You sent me a link to this thing called Fujify Me.
Yeah.
Fujify.me.
And I think a listener sent that to us.
Oh, okay. And then it's LUTs and a Lightroom presets for Fuji film simulations. And they're claiming that if you download these profiles for Lightroom, which they only work on Lightroom, which is part of my problem, and trying to decide which workflow to use is that there's a lot of stuff that just depends upon Lightroom, and you feels like you kind of have to have Lightroom.
Yep. That's how they try to get you.
Blah.
Have you tried the Fujify Me thing yet?
No. I have no reason to.
Yeah, because you have a Fuji.
I just have a Fuji camera. Like
maybe I need to try it because I have a Lumix. And so I mean, maybe my stuff match.
When you eventually make me use the GR3, maybe I get the GR version, so I can whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's. I've looked through like the sample photos and they seem fine.
Yeah.
I'm always dubious on this. The Lightroom, if you shoot on like a Fuji camera and you bring your Fuji RAWs into Lightroom, they have camera matching presets already in there, which are close, but they're not the same.
Yeah.
Like they just don't quite look
I've
the
seen
same.
Those and they've always been like a little disappointing to me.
Yeah, but it's just like a little different. I do kind of like the way some of them look, and I'll use them for edits. But it's not the same as JPEG. So one, I'm interested to see if these are better than the Lightroom versions. I think the Lightroom versions and the fact that I can just shoot my own JPEGs is enough for me not to get these.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that they offer is LUTs, which for your Fuji camera you can get like LUTs to do the film simulations on your F-Log footage.
Well, that is pretty cool. So you can do it in video and you're shooting in log, but you can still transform it.
Yeah, which is something that we've just not had.
Yeah.
And I've been like saying like, Fuji, why not just like give this to us?
Now, wasn't there something though, like didn't they do that for the GFX Eterna 55?
I was going to say until now, because the GFX Eterna 55 has LUTs for F-Log 2, F-Log 2C for all the film simulations.
Yeah, and those are like official from Fuji.
Yep. But I mean, like they rely on the fact on you shooting on the GFX Eterna for those profiles.
Right.
I downloaded them anyway. And I have been messing with using those LUTs for F-Log2 on the XH2S.
Well, what do you think of it? Does it
seem like
it works?
They seem pretty close to my eye. So
I bet it is close. I mean, it may not be exact, but I bet it's pretty close.
And so now I just super don't need this Fujifilm stuff. Like, got the Lightroom thing, got the JPEGs, and now I got all these official Fuji LUTs.
Yep. You got all kinds of options.
I'm all set, man.
All kinds of options here. Pretty cool.
Maybe if I switch to a non-Fuji camera, this will be. Yeah. I'll have to come back to this. Yeah. But it's cool that it exists. I think as a Fuji user, it's a hard sell.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like it's better if you're not. Like you said, for the GR, it could be good. For me with the S9, it could be interesting, like especially because you can load LUTs onto the camera.
Yeah, for sure. I think that
LUTs and try it.
They only have two manufacturers for the LUTs. I think that he has it for S-Log3 and then for all the F-Logs.
Okay.
So I think you have to actually have a Sony or something.
Although, if they have a preset, I think I could use Lightroom to make the LUT. I'm pretty sure there's a way to do that.
Yeah, you probably could.
Because I've done it before. There's this process where you get a file that looks like a color chart, basically, and you pull it into Lightroom. You do whatever you want to it, like apply a preset or whatever, and then you export that file. And then there's an online tool you can use where you take that and it turns it into a LUT, and then you can take that and load it onto your S9.
They have S-Log3 and they have Apple Log, so you do it with your phone, which is cool.
That's kind of cool.
And for like the preset to LUT conversion, it's like you're really relying on that log. Like I guess on Lumix, it's like that you have to get the input just right, right? You have to have a very it's literally just a lookup table, and so the input has to be exactly right for the output to be exactly right. Yeah, and so just getting that sorted seems like it would be challenging.
Yeah, maybe so.
And I don't know if like the Panasonic RAWs or like the right approximation for V-Log, but I don't know quite how that system works as far as what you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to try. Like,
I sure would
load the Classic Chrome one and then see if it looks like Classic Chrome.
That would be the one to go for first.
I mean, it's never going to be the same because Fuji uses the X-Trans sensor, and like obviously you're getting more green and stuff, and that's not going to be the same as what other cameras output. But
no, not quite. I think you can kind of get close and whatever, but I feel like all of this LUT and preset stuff is just way harder than it seems. I don't know. Like I've been using those Gerald LUTs to try to match the Fuji, the F-Log2 and V-Log.
It's kind of disappointing, right? Like it doesn't quite work.
It's close, but it's like the tint is just like for the set of footage I used it for, it didn't match. It was like really close, but it didn't match.
That is disappointing.
And it's like I know that. I mean, he probably like here's a color chart and here's like perfect lighting that I'm this well tested and like a very, very controlled environment. And when I shoot these things, I can line all these dots up and they match perfectly. And it's like, yeah, it matches perfectly for that one situation. But now I'm shooting in I have like a mix of natural light and different angles. And like maybe my key light's a different color temperature or has a different like tint balance. And then all of these things, it's now like the sensor is doing something different to demosaic and it's making different assumptions. And then those like slight differences in the capture environment yield like a different result. Yeah. And so it's like,
well, any camera profile, any camera sensor is going to behave a little bit differently, like depending on like what colors it's seeing, what the lighting is and all that. And so, it's you're really trying to hit a moving target when you make a preset like that.
I feel like, all the internet people want you to buy their presets and want you to buy their LUTs. And I think that it's easy to fall into the trap of like, oh, I just need to like get these, I can slap them on there and I'll be done. Yeah. When in actuality, there is always going to be, if you truly want like to have that exact look, there's always going to be some amount of adjustment on the input side to get it into the expected window for that end result to be correct, if that makes sense. Yeah. And that's like fine. It's just, you kind of still have to like know what you're doing. And while a lot of cases, LUTs and presets and stuff can be a cheat code to getting things done faster, if you haven't like spent the time to learn the tool and know like how to make those adjustments, you're not gonna get what you're looking for in the end.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Woof.
There's no free lunch, I guess. Can't get a Fuji without having a Fuji.
Exactly, Daniel. Can't get a Fuji without having a Fuji. Which is why we're going to cancel the second half of this episode and talk about Fuji rumors for the rest of the time.
I don't think we're going to do that. The people want to hear about Leica. We need to tell them about Leica. We'll be back in just a moment, but we wanted to let you know that if you'd like to support the show, you can now subscribe to us on Patreon. It helps cover our hosting costs so we can keep the show running, and you might find an occasional behind-the-scenes post on there, like some photos we've taken recently or a mini review of some new gear. If you're interested, you can find us at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast.
You think people like hearing about Leica because Leica, or do you think that people are actually interested in buying Leica cameras? I think everybody wants a Leica camera.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants a Leica camera, but no one can buy a Leica camera.
I think there's a lot to that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously there's some people that buy them, but I mean, I think, yeah, for a lot of people, it's just interesting to hear what they're doing. But, I know for me, I'm probably never going to buy one. They're just so expensive. And yeah, I don't feel like I'm good enough photographer to have a Leica or something. I don't know.
This new EV1, M EV1, is maybe the most approachable Leica to date.
Why is that?
Because it's not a
$1 zillion.
Well, it is cheaper than the M11, substantially cheaper than the M11, like hundreds of dollars cheaper.
This is pretty expensive, Lucas. I mean, I think that if I was a person, if my entire like pursuit of photography was, going around taking photos, like walking around a park and taking photos, doing street photography, like that type of thing, I feel like if I was in that mode, and if I was, had like a really successful career and was 65 years old, I could see myself owning a Leica. But my problem is I do so many different types of things with photography, like event shooting and, a lot of video stuff and, casual trip things. And it's like, it's not all in one category. And I want to be able to buy lenses and stuff. Like, I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine spending $9,000 on a camera.
What if, now hear me out, you're just like really into photography and you've been shooting for, and this is the exact thing you described, but you've been shooting for 40 years and you have just a ton of M mount lenses.
But why do I have a ton of M mount lenses?
Because in 1963, you bought a Leica and you started building your M mount arsenal of lenses.
Yep. So I have a legacy of M mount lenses.
Mm-hmm. If you stayed in the M ecosystem, you could shoot digital and film.
I mean, that's true. And I think that, if you're like, basically if you're already like in Leica, then maybe it makes more sense. But it's still a $9,000 camera.
I think that there needs to be another camera manufacturer out there that pursues the same thing. I know that the M series lenses, I have this history to them. But I think Pentax could do the same thing.
Of course you do.
I'm just saying that like there's kind of an appealing situation where I owned 3 M mount lenses and then 2 bodies, and one was film and one was digital.
And that way you're sharing lenses, but you can choose which format you want to shoot.
And then I just bring that set with me when I travel, and then I can shoot on film or I can shoot on digital.
So you think that's the appeal here?
I think that's a huge appeal. I don't think it's $6,000 per camera appeal, but I think that it's really cool. Anyways, the M series is their rangefinder, and to date, they've never shipped one with an electronic viewfinder. And that's what the EV1 is. This is the first M mount rangefinder camera from Leica that has a digital viewfinder rather than an optical viewfinder.
That is a pretty big departure from their normal thing.
Yeah, it's substantial. I mean, Leica was the first one to like if you look at a rangefinder, you see, okay, here's the little lens that's to the, like if you're looking at it dead on the right, you have the one that you look through, and on the left, you have this like little lens over here that resolves for parallax. And so you can actually like frame your photos, but still like not be looking through the lens because it's not an SLR, it's a rangefinder.
Yeah.
And they were the ones that like solved it. And that was why Leica was so cool back in like the 50s or whatever. And they just been like riding that wave.
Just riding that wave.
Riding that wave.
And then here they are with, kind of doing what everybody else is doing with an EVF.
So there's I think like the biggest conversation around this is like, is this what I mean? This is a red flag kind of thing. Is this Leica meeting the people where they are in a good way, or is this like a death stroke to Leica?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. It feels like it's not the only thing that sets their cameras apart, because I know a lot of people like the colors, the design, all that, but it does feel like it makes you wonder, like, why does a Leica fan, like, what's the advantage? Why does a Leica fan choose the EVF over the like M11 with the OVF? So
as Leica is selling this, which we need to take a step back and like talk about what's in this camera, but the way that Leica is selling this is the EVF, yields some features that you couldn't have before with an optical viewfinder, which are like live focus peaking. M series cameras are manual focus only cameras, period. And on like, especially if you're that 60-year-old that you were talking about buying this camera because you've been in photography for 1,000 years, maybe a little hard to manual focus sometimes.
Yeah, I would think so.
Honestly, even if you're shooting full frame at 1.4, really hard to focus sometimes.
For sure.
So having like digital focus assist features like focus peaking, you can probably get way better critical focus. You could even do like a punch into zoom to get critical focus.
Cool. Yeah.
Not something you can do optically.
Nice.
So like maybe the EVF allows you to get better photos than you were able to. Sure, like maybe you slightly miss the moment because there is a time delay, versus optically.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe not. You can preview exposure, obviously, just like any mirrorless camera. You can do digital zoom. So like that's something that the Q3 has, where it's like, hey, this is a 6 megapixel sensor.
Yeah, it might crop in a little bit.
And now it's 3 focal lengths or whatever, and you can shoot, up to 2x zoom or something. You can now do that here. Not something that you could do in an M series camera before, but cool. Like with a digital viewfinder, it's like, hey, let's do a lot of the stuff that we're doing with the Q3, but in an M series body. Yeah. And I think that maybe like that's appealing for this, is that it's a way to make an M series camera more like a Q3 camera without having to buy a Q3 camera.
Yeah, because you do get the advantage, like the changeable lenses and all that.
Right. It's like, what if you wanted a Q3, but you wanted interchangeable lenses?
Yeah.
It wasn't really like an option.
I see. So that's kind of what they're going for here.
And then like you get level gauge and that sort of thing. So it's like, it's all the things that you get from a mirrorless camera with a digital viewfinder. It's the same stinking argument as like DSLR versus mirrorless.
Yeah.
You're actually seeing the world versus looking at a display. But when you look at a display, it's like having a HUD or something, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of EVFs, obviously. I've gotten a lot of value out of it, but it does just feel weird to me, just because I feel like the kind of people that are buying these cameras, enjoy the more like true to life, or, like there's less technology in the way, like that kind of idea. And so it's kind of a bold move, I think.
I think that an EVF is probably more upside than downside over an optical viewfinder for a modern digital camera.
Okay.
But like, I was talking to someone recently about guitar amps, and he was telling me, he's like, man, you would love, because like, I'm a tech guy, right? And so he's like, oh, you would love this, blah, 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 blah. He was talking to me about this amp thing. And I feel like most people that play electric guitar now are just gonna like feed it through their computer or some like software system that can.
Most stuff I've seen, it's like, even live, like they have a pedal board and they run the signal through it, and it's all just like simulated effects.
Exactly. And he was telling me about this pedal or amp, or I think maybe it was an amp or something, where it's like there's an app for it, and like you can download, here's this song I want to play, I don't know, Stairway to Heaven or something silly, and I want it to sound just like it. So I'm going to download like user generated profiles, and this one's ranked the highest. I'm gonna load that into the thing,
it's
and then
like film simulations, kind of.
Yeah, sure. And then it's like now when I play, it has all the right amount of reverb and delay and distortion and overdrive, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like cool. Like I don't have to like screw around with all the pedals and everything. But whenever we were playing back in my day, 1,000 years ago, it was like the most important thing was like. It was like you were taking a huge hit if you got a digital amp. You wanted it to be like tubes. Wasn't your Vox amp a tube amp?
Yeah, it was.
You were so cool, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it was like you don't get the warmth, man.
Even some of the pedals, we both had like effect pedals and stuff, and if you had like they were digital in the sense that like the pedals didn't have tubes in them, but it wasn't like those multi-effect pedal things. It's like you'd have one pedal that was like, this is a distortion pedal or whatever. And I got to where I would modify those. Like there were kits you could buy online where you could get swap out like capacitors and stuff on the pedal. And it legitimately made it sound a lot better. Like it was just, all those electronics were way more analog than stuff is now.
Yeah, for sure. And I just remember whenever we were playing more, and like that was the thing that was like we were interested in, not cameras, I guess. It was if you could get to a point where your signal was analog from the pickups to the speaker in the amp, you were the coolest person.
Yeah, for sure. That was always the goal. Everybody was just spending more money to get toward that goal,
right?
Because the analog stuff is more expensive.
But and I don't play hardly anymore. I haven't picked up a guitar in like a month. And it seems like today, it's like get the signal into a digital workflow as fast as you can, and then just do it digitally.
Yeah,
because like it's easier, it's just as good now, and like why would you ever deal with it in analog style? But like in my little guitarist heart, I'm like, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
and like I smoked a brisket for Christmas, and someone was like, "Oh, did you do like a rub or a seasoning?" And like, there's so many different approaches you can do to smoking a brisket, but it's not Texas brisket if it's not 50% salt, 50% pepper, and then on a smoker for 15 hours. And like you can use a pellet grill. You can like buy seasoning where you're like, I'll put garlic and paprika and blah, blah, blah. But it's not brisket.
Yeah.
If it's not 50% salt, 50% pepper, and it's on like a freaking actual offsets. Anyways.
Yeah. I think out of those, the smoker is the thing that feels most similar to this, where like now you can get pellet smokers. It's like you basically have like an app that runs it, keeps it at the perfect temperature the whole time. And meanwhile, you like doing it with, an offset smoker where you're like tending a fire the whole time.
And just I'm like, it tastes better because of the love and effort that I put into it, dang it. But like it's clearly worse. Yeah. Right? It's like you can't get the same critical focus optically because you're tending a fire to draw that metaphor. But my point is like with the guitar pedal thing and with the brisket thing, it's like there's like the purest version of it. And for some people, myself included in some ways, want like the purest version.
Yeah.
And up to this point, the M series for Leica is that. You pay more money for it because it is the purest version of photography. And does them putting an electronic viewfinder in an M series camera, like, is it a total departure from what makes Leica?
I mean, fortunately, you do still have the option, right? Like they still sell the M11. You can still get that if you want it, and you just pay more for it. But it is an interesting change. The other thing I was thinking of is that, I think sometimes the analog stuff is nice because you just have fewer things to fiddle with, like less. Like I don't always want to play with an app. Like sometimes I just want to like use something. Like I want to like turn the guitar amp on, not have to like download an app and do all these things. And that's the one thing where I don't think there's quite as much of a problem here. I mean, I guess you have some settings you have to mess with, but, I don't think the EVF is really, like, making anything harder or, like, I guess you could say it's worse, depending on what you want. But it doesn't make the workflow harder. It makes the workflow easier, but you do lose some of that purist aspect of having the optical viewfinder.
It seems like Leica, to an extent, knows that the more you take away the digital stuff, to get it closer and closer to like a digital version of an analog camera, the more they're like narrowing down on the market of that one guy who's like, it's got to be a tube amp.
I do think that's true,
and
especially as time goes on.
And it's made so evident by the fact that the EV1 costs $8,995, and it is an M11. Yeah. It has a 60 megapixel sensor. It's manual focus only. It's got the UHS-2. It's got 64 gigs of internal memory. It's M mount. It's got the same 2.3 million dot screen. It is the same camera but with an EVF. An M11, which is older, costs $9,840.
Yeah. So they came down, and in this market, they came down by 10%.
Right. And then you can go further, and you can buy an M11D, which doesn't even have a screen on the back.
I forgot that one existed.
And that one's $10,055.
Yes. Which is funny. It's like it literally has fewer parts.
Yep. It's like this one's $800 more if you want to get rid of the EVF, and this one's $2,000 more if you want to get rid of the EVF and the screen.
But I think you're onto something when you say they know their market's getting smaller, because I think the reason that happens is they're not making very many of them.
Right, it's a volume thing.
They lose out on like the economy of scale, because how many people are really buying an M11D?
Enough. A few. The dedicated few. The true photographers, Daniel.
The true photographers.
The purists out there. So I don't know where I land on the EV1 thing. I think from like the reason I like cameras is because it's tech. And so I think that the EV1 is both cheaper and better from a photo taking standpoint than an M11 straight up. So like, why not just buy the EV1?
Yeah.
I don't know. The EVF that they did put in this is the same resolution as the Q3, which is 5.76 million dots.
It's just not the best you can get, which is kind of crazy in a $9,000 camera, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think they Leica sells a camera with higher than 9.76. I don't remember what the SL3 EVF resolution is, but man, it's 5.76. Okay.
Yeah.
So like Leica doesn't sell anything that's more high resolution EVF than that.
I mean, the only company I know of that does is Sony.
Yeah, I think Sony's the only one that's doing 9-point-something million dots. Even still, would have been cool to see this be more resolution.
Yeah, in such an expensive camera.
And like a $9,000 camera, you're only getting 5. Anyways, it's the same resolution as the Q3, but it's 60 hertz, not 120 hertz.
Oh, interesting.
Like the EVF in the Nikon Z6 III is probably better.
Do you think it's a size thing? Because this is a rangefinder style camera. It's a pretty small EVF, physically.
The size could be a reason for the resolution, but we don't know like what's the brightness. Does it do HDR? Why can't it shoot 120 hertz? I mean, it's probably constrained in some other way.
Yeah.
Processor, heat, battery.
Kind of disappointing.
Like it's fine. It's fine.
It is fine. But
it's just not like $9,000 fine. I don't know.
Well, especially if you're kind of like replacing an optical viewfinder, like the 60 versus 120 hertz thing's a little disappointing.
I mean, I know that most of the film cameras I have, well, even the Pentax, which I still need to fix, all of them with their optical viewfinders, like they honestly don't look as good as the digital viewfinder in my X-T5. Like those lenses get dirty and they reflect light. Like I've never shot on an OVF for a Leica. Sorry. But like the magnification and all these things, like I don't know if I've ever looked through a DSLR where I was like, this looks better than a super nice, bright, high resolution EVF.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're a youngin'. You just don't know how things were done in the old days.
I mean, like I've looked through EVF of every Nikon my dad's owned, which is like who knows what they are, D80, D850s. I don't know, man.
Well, those aren't EVFs.
No, but they're DSLRs.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're looking through an optical.
Yes.
And like I have a 7D at home. It doesn't,
not as good as your EVF.
It doesn't look as good as looking through even the XT3 that I had.
Yeah.
Look better.
Yep.
Just saying.
Interesting.
Anyways, so for me, I think the EV1 is the perfect Leica for me. I know I said for me twice, but I wanted to clarify that I'm not saying it's a perfect Leica. I'm saying for me, this would probably be the best M camera.
Yeah.
for my
When you
use.
say best M camera, when you say best Leica, I think I would be more interested in the Q3.
Same.
For the same reason I think the GFX RF is interesting, because it's like, I don't really want to invest in a whole new lens ecosystem.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot easier to invest in a single camera.
Actually, if I was going to go out and buy an M series camera, I would try to find either a used M series film camera, or I would buy an M6.
Yeah.
I think that's
How much is the M6?
$6,000.
Yeah, it's a little bit more approachable.
It's kind of that's more my speed, but $64.15 is what a current M6 costs.
Okay.
I would love to have the newest modern M6.
Yeah. $6,000 for a film camera.
But
wow.
damn, then you can shoot on like all those Summoluxes, and you can get those like what's the Tyvek? What's that brand?
Man, I have no idea. I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm talking about lenses, Daniel.
You're just making up words now.
Oh my gosh! They make only like M mount Typoc. Jeez, we don't ever talk about these.
Yeah,
I could buy some like Typoc lenses. I could buy some like Summoluxes. I'm just saying, I could get some like really slick lenses.
You could.
If I wanted my film photography to like actually be good,
that's what you have to do. You think?
Freaking shoot on Leica, man. I do think that like that's the thing that has just kind of been like the biggest shift is like, I think like Leica was it for film photography.
Yeah.
They just aren't like to be like the thing, the most like, unobtainium of digital photography. You have to be good at specs, and you have to be good at like compute and processing. It's like a totally different skill set.
Yeah.
Whereas Leica's like good at materials and hardware.
Yeah,
and
the user experience of their stuff is really nice, and like it feels nice and looks nice. But yeah, it does feel like they can't compete as well in the digital world as they did in the film world.
They spent all that time and R&D on that special sauce that they put on the inside of their lenses and inside of their cameras, that they just didn't have any man hours left to invest in like processing and software and all that stuff.
Well, they're fundamentally they're not an electronics company. Like you see all these, I mean, Canon and Nikon are the two that kind of stuck around from before. But
even Canon's a printer and MRI company, aren't they?
True.
Most of these are like optics companies in a way.
Well, but I mean, I'm thinking about like Sony and Panasonic. Like those are just like electronics first companies, and you kind of can see it in the processing and software that their cameras.
I guess that's probably true across the board, though, right? Like Sony and Panasonic are electronics companies, just straight up. Canon has always been they've been printers and then cameras, and but they're an imaging company. It seems. I don't know what Nikon does. Fuji's always been like film and optics.
Yeah, but Fuji also has like a medical division.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a huge company.
Well, like their medical stuff isn't it like all optics stuff?
Maybe it is.
They're making like microscopes and MRI machines and whatever.
I think it's kind of interesting to look at some of these companies and think about what their history was and like what are they good at, like generally.
Washing machines and computers.
You can kind of see that in what their cameras are good at or bad at.
Or, I mean, you could just look at them as a modern companies now and just see what their biggest revenue stream is, because none of them is it cameras. Yeah, except for Leica, probably. Leica's biggest revenue stream is probably cameras.
I don't know. Fuji's could be Instax.
I think the medical division for Fuji probably outsells their including Instax their camera division by a substantial margin.
Yeah. It's interesting, as in, it feels not great for us that that's the case, but I don't know. These companies still seem happy to make cameras. Like it does well enough that it's profitable. It's just not maybe the biggest part of their business.
Do you think like that's why Leicas are the best, is because they just care more? And I mean arbitrarily, right? Because
I was gonna say I don't know if they're the best or not. I think that they have the reputation they do because they've been around so long. And because they were really good in the film days, I think that has kind of carried through. And I think the fact that I think it's a combination of that they look so good, and feel so nice to hold and all that, they're nice to use, and that most people can't buy one. I think that combination gives them kind of a mystique, and that works really well for their brand reputation. I think if Leica cameras were $2,000, where anybody could pick one up, they'd suddenly be competing, directly with companies like Sony and Canon.
You can say Fujifilm.
And
That's
Fuji.
Okay. There you
go. More directly on features and like the look of the images and stuff. And I think that they may not compete as well at that. But I mean, we've talked about this before, but it honestly feels like them being in the high price bracket they are kind of works well for them as like a luxury brand type idea where it's like people, it's almost like a status symbol owning one.
Mm-hmm. It really, really is. I'm looking at photos of this M6 and I just can't figure out what this dial is on the back. You can set the ISO for your film speed, but then on the top of it, it has degrees and you can set it between 9 degrees and 39 degrees. And I don't know what that's for.
Huh. I have no idea. I could not begin to guess.
I must not be a real film photographer. What would make me real, Daniel?
Man, I don't know what that degree thing is. That's really strange. I see that there. It's no clue on that.
No clue.
No clue. Someday you'll figure it out.
One day. It's not going to be today. Even though I'm literally searching what is the degree dial on a Leica 4. Degrees refer to the German DIN, or should I say this in German, Daniel? Deutsches Institut für Normung.
We have German listeners.
Okay, correct me. It's fine.
Very offended.
Logarithmic scale, often paired with. Oh, it's in case you're using DIN instead of ISO. It's just the other. Yeah, ISO is like an A standard of film speed, but it's not the only.
So it's two measurements on the same dial. You turn the dial, and it just shows you what that translates to.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Glad we figured that out.
Yeah, now we know.
All right, Dan. Any final thoughts on the M EV1?
Anytime we talk about Leica cameras, it's hard for me to connect with it because it's just like I'm never gonna buy this. It's not. It's so expensive. I feel like most people aren't gonna buy it, and that just kind of naturally makes it less interesting to me. I think on this one, it's kind of an interesting direction for them, where they're slowly moving more toward like digital, like embracing digital and all that. But I don't know if I feel like I feel like the M11 is going to do better just because I feel like the kind of people who are willing to spend this kind of money on a camera mostly probably want the most Leica-ish experience they can get. And to me, that's still like optical viewfinder, like everything analog. Like
do you think that this opens up the option for a Leica camera for people who wouldn't or couldn't use one with an optical viewfinder?
I don't know.
Like maybe you have like a glasses prescription and without like the, I mean, I guess EVFs still use a diopter. They're not like doing that digitally, but maybe it's like there's just not a way that you could have done it before.
More accessible or whatever. I don't know. Maybe there's some people like that out there. I don't know. I think it's going to be niche. I mean, all these cameras have to be niche. It may sell a little more than the M11 just because it's cheaper, but I just feel like if people are already spending that much money, the extra 10% to get the optical is not going to be that much more. And to me, the person buying an M11 wants that, but I guess I don't really know.
Do you think that there's a mode for this where you can shoot in black and white, but not preview in black and white?
That'd be interesting.
'Cause I don't know if any camera does that. Because normally when you shoot in black and white, you're previewing it that way. But whenever you shoot on film in black and white, you kind of have to guess what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
And you have to like, that was the weirdest thing for me shooting in black and white for the first time, was like intentionally focusing on the contrast of like colors and the contrast of shadow and light and knowing how that's going to interplay. Because if like, it could be the same light exposure, and if there's no contrast in the colors, and like it.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's like you need different colored luminance basically to make it pop.
It changes the way you see and shoot.
Yeah.
And not being able to preview it makes you think more and like really have to like understand your composition. And I'm just saying, like, if you want the real experience, like maybe this EV1 needs to have that feature if it doesn't already.
That would be pretty cool. That would be a neat way for them to kind of lean into the advantages that they get here.
I wonder if the Fuji can do that. I'm going to have to mess around with that.
I'm sure the M11, the optical viewfinder one, obviously would.
Yeah.
You're
seeing
that's
just how it is.
Yeah. But, interesting.
Anyway, I think this is.
What do you think of it?
I think it was the right move. I think that it creates another avenue for people to get into Leica who may have been steered away by the OVF, but really wanted to get into M mount.
Yeah.
And even though it is a sign of the end times, I think that it's still probably a worthwhile avenue for Leica to pursue.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe so. I mean, it's like, it's just another camera in the lineup. It's not like they stopped selling the other one. So now you have both options, I guess.
Yep. More options, mo better.
Can't disagree with that. That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us. And if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com. And you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.